Hey guys, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to class. And good to see everybody. So let's go ahead and take a few moments and just see how everyone's doing. But how are you guys doing? Haven't seen you for a couple days, but it's good to be back. How was your 4th of July? Or are you guys still celebrating? Is probably the question, right? We had some good well, if you're like me, you're probably feeling a little bit of the hot dogs and the hamburgers this morning, or feeling a little bit of the weight of that, right? So there's definitely some food that's working itself through the system. Well, it's good to see everybody. And while we wait for a couple moments for some folks to come in, definitely a lot of things going on today, because not everybody is here, and we're going to give everyone a few minutes to kind of check in and do a couple of things. So here's the game plan for today, and I'll probably repeat myself before we move forward, okay? Today we're going to be doing one-on-one check-ins as a class, okay? Basically, what's going on is that if you're here, it's probably because you're doing pretty well in the class, or people are still doing pretty well in the class. And we have a few folks that are definitely behind. So my goal is to basically engage everyone today. We're going to do no new lecture today, except discuss the final portfolio. And then we'll basically going to review designs on a one-on-one basis. So I'm not lecturing today. I'm talking to you guys personally, one-on-one. So be ready to talk to me live, okay? So I'll be speaking to you. No new lectures, no nothing. If you're away from your phone or away from your computer, you want to get somewhere, because I'm going to talk to everyone individually, one-on-one, okay? And then give you guys some feedback. Once we do our feedback, you're going to have some lab time to basically work on magazines, late work, or final portfolio. And that's basically going to be the theme for the next 4 days, okay? I have a feeling that if we don't see any people show up, it's because they're bailing out on the class, and we don't want to bail out. We want to give you guys an opportunity to finish up the work. So that's going to be my goal today. The goal is to basically make some calls, find people accountable, give everybody feedback, and then from there, I'm going to round up everyone else and connect with them and find out where everyone is and how they're doing, and so on and so forth. Okay. Because that's kind of where we're at right now in terms of assignments or work in the class, things of that sort. Okay, so that's going to be our game plan. If for those folks that have already done some designs, initial designs, if you're on Canvas, meet me on Canvas under the discussion post. Today's discussion post is talking about what do you have so far, or based on this checklist, are you meeting all the points or everything on the list, so to speak, right? So it's a pretty straightforward question. Let me go ahead and pull that up so that we can take a look at it. But essentially, let's see. Okay, share screen. Okay, so if you meet me down over here where there is, let's take a look here. Logo is going to refer to more cover line. So it's basically the masthead. So is it similar as the masthead, or the logo type? Do you have some type of customization going on? So that's a good question, Francesca. But basically what we're doing here is that we're going to go to day 17 at the bottom. And as you log on, do you see anything that you still need to work on for your post, for your design? Okay, so So that's where we're at overall. So is there text used with a specific type of theme, right? Basically, is the text stylized, have colors, have fonts selected and broken into them, right? Are you manipulating your cover lines or your articles to look professional? Meaning, is there contrast, bolding, capitalization, or perhaps italics to stress the importance of words, right? Arrangements, catchy phrasing to kind of get your viewers' attention. Are your cover lines or articles interesting, well written? There's no spelling errors or any type of grammatical errors. No hyphens indicated inside of that, right? Is your line spacing or the leading, right? Or the line space or kerning, line spacing and leading, or the tracking looking natural, right? So are the lines basically grouped together properly? Not too much space between lines of your phrases, not too much tracking in between the letters, but just enough so that it looks natural, readable, almost like a paragraph, so to speak, right? Is there a grid? So is it apparent? Basically, is there a structure? That's kind of the other way of saying it. Is there an order? Is your cover or the line or the masthead, the title of your magazine, taking up top third sections? Do we have a central image towards the center? Do we have a structure happening in a way that is evident, right? Are you using your cover lines in negative spaces? And do they look appropriate? So we're looking at that specifically, right? Is the image or illustration at 300 ppi, pixels per inch? Is there dominant art or enough empty space for the positioning? So are you using your negative space for your cover? And of course, is your central image dominant? Is the cover line or the headline dominating or related to the central image? And is basically the positioning of your masthead appropriate, and small professional details, taglines, issue numbers, months included somewhere? And is color appropriate, right? So are we thinking about color theory and things of that sort? Right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of looking at all these areas in your magazine, and just let me know, is there certain areas you need to work on? If so, what is that? What do you need to focus on today and this week to ensure that the cover works to its maximum capability so it looks interesting visually? Take a few moments. As soon as we do this discussion post, go ahead and type in the chat that you're done. And then we're basically going to talk about the final portfolio and break off into our one-on-one session. So I'll be talking to everyone one-on-one today, and then basically using the remaining time this week for lab time, okay? So basically after today, there's gonna be no new material. We're gonna have literally 4 days to catch up on work and assignments. So that's about literally 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. We'll have about 5 times 4, 20 hours to catch up on work, which I believe is more than enough time to catch up on the assignments in the class, okay? So take a few moments. Let's give it about 5 minutes or so to tell me what the areas of focus is. And then we're gonna jump in, talk about the final portfolio, and then essentially do our one-on-one live sessions with everyone in the class, okay? All right, guys, take a few moments, and while I prep my portfolio instruction. Okay, guys. All right. If anyone is still typing, go ahead and let me know and give me a little thumbs up if you're still typing on the Canvas post. Okay. All right. Let me give you guys a couple more minutes. Once you're done, just let me know in the chat that you've completed it, and then we'll get you started there in just a couple of minutes. Okay. Once our folks are done writing, then we'll talk about final portfolio followed by one-on-one. So if you just joined us today, no new content except for the final portfolio. And we're gonna do one-on-one sessions today. So be ready. You're gonna be talking to me one-on-one specifically about pretty much all your projects. And then we're gonna have an action plan for the rest of the week on how we can maximize the highest grade in the class. So we're gonna be using that this week. We're gonna use the time, 20 hours this week, to basically catch up on everything for those folks that are behind. So we're gonna use that time this week to get you prepared, get you set up, and get you passing in this class, okay? All right. So as soon as we're done typing, please let me know once you've posted, or I'll keep an eye out here online on my Canvas page just to make sure who's posted. Okay, guys, almost ready to begin here. And just let me know. Perfect. Okay. Maybe about 60 seconds. Okay. Okay, and what I'm doing here is just kind of making a quick modification. And adding a couple of images so we can get you set up here for the final portfolio as well. We'll get to that in just a couple of moments, actually. So. Set you up. Okay, so I think we should be good here. Final portfolio template. Okay, thanks for your patience, guys. What I'm trying to do is give you guys an external link, so then that way your files are ready to go. And I want to make this link active, so then that way you can put that in there. So copy that link, put it in here, and oh goodness, really? Okay. Oh, huh, interesting. Here we go. Okay. Perfect. And today's the 5th. And 59 on the AM. Right. Okay. And we'll get that going. Okay, perfect. And that should be published and ready to go. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about it really quick. So based on the checklist, we'll talk about Canvas in just a moment, and we'll do your individual check-ins momentarily just to see where everything is at. What I'm going to do now is to launch the final portfolio final assignment, which is active now. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to go into specific formats. Okay, so today we're basically going to be doing lab time and one-on-one check-ins as soon as we're done with portfolios. Okay, so stay online. Basically, the format's going to be is that I'm going to create a couple of breakout rooms, and then in those breakout rooms, one of them is basically going to be one-on-one with me, and then obviously there's going to be live time right now to work on your designs. At some point, I'll call you. We'll go into the one-on-one breakout rooms, and we'll review basically your performance, assignments that are missing, and your action plan for your final portfolio, which requires those assignments basically. So that's kind of the game plan. So in order for the portfolio to work, we're going to need to make sure that all your assignments are caught up. Once we do those check-ins, then you're free to work independently. Still stay until 12 o'clock. And then basically from there, I'm going to be making phone calls to students just to make sure that are not here today, just to see what the game plan is for their completion this week. So we want to make sure that I have that action plan. Okay. So we'll go over that in just a few moments. And then as soon as we're done with final portfolios, we'll talk about your magazine cover designs and how everything is going to kind of work from there. Okay. What I'll say first about the cover designs is that your magazine cover designs will be due on the same day as the final. Okay. So depending on how far you are, then obviously that's going to be part of our discussion today. So this Thursday, last day of class, is by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 11:59 a.m., not p.m. We're going to get these designs in. So we're going to make sure that those are ready to go. Okay. So they'll be due this Thursday on our last day of class, your cover designs, to give everyone time to catch up, design, and work on portfolios. So we're going to obviously get that going. Okay. All right. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about the final projects, which is basically the final portfolio. Now, if you've had my class before, at any point in the past, same format. It's basically a collection of all the work throughout the semester. And then we're going to put all that work into one nice portfolio. Okay. So it's really a collection of the work that you've done for this entire week, which is going to be helpful. And so that's huge. So we're going to basically put that all together, package it really, really nicely, and then turn that in. So we're going to go over that right now and set that up. And this is going to be really helpful for those folks. Okay. So basically it's all 20 days, which is an equivalent almost like 20 weeks worth of work, but we did it in 20 days, which is pretty remarkable. We're going to compile all 20 days of your work into a structured PDF portfolio. And here's the list of those projects that we pretty much worked on. Okay. I just realized there is one project we did not do, which is design versus style. We did not do that. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that really quick so that it doesn't throw anybody off. And I'll remove that and then save that file. So I'll make sure I'll get that in there and then make the modification on Canvas as well. So, okay, which is basically design versus style. We did not do that. We opted to do the Helvetica film instead. So that's basically what we worked on. Okay. So principles of design, Photoshop tools, pixel art, selection techniques, the collage, genetic mutation, 70 years of magazine covers, cover design, grid variation, magazine conventions, Google slide, user persona, magazine cover design, and a self-reflection about your experience. We're all going to basically put that together into this portfolio. Okay. The template, I'll just show you the template right now, just so that I can give you a rundown, because I actually give you the template. So the template is actually ready to go. So you're welcome. So your final digital imaging portfolio is basically already ready to go. All you would have to do is copy it and plug in the work to your design. Okay. So it's your final digital imaging portfolio. I would say you can put your name there instead. So then, and identify yourself as graphic designer for your cover. Your second page is basically an about me page, which talks a little bit about yourself. So think of this page as like an introduction. Hey, how are you? My name is so-and-so. My interests are this. I have this many years of experience working in design. I grew up in this city, and these are the things I like to do, and I'm really excited to work with you. The purpose of a portfolio is really to get a feel for who you are as a designer, so that when, let's say, an interview were to occur, then I see you like we do on Zoom, right? You see me, I see your work, and I kind of get a feel for who you are and your work and what you do, and really get an understanding of your passion as a graphic artist or graphic designer. Some portfolios have skills and expertise listed in very different ways. So there's different ways to kind of list that. I kind of give you a little graphic image or an infographic of your skills and expertise. And so, graphic design is obviously theoretical. So that's like the biggest one, followed by like digital imaging, cloud computing, brand strategies. These are things that typically most graphic designers are expected to know and understand. So we have that, okay? With regards to work, here's basically the project. We did not do this slide, which is the design versus style. So I'm gonna delete that. But we did do principles of design. At least some of us did. So I hope that's something we wanna catch up with, okay? So principles of design. So you're basically going to take 2 screenshots of your principles of design slides from this class, the best ones, your favorite ones that you've written, and include that into the portfolio. So you want to make sure that you screenshot that. On a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, and you can screenshot those 2 specific slides, plug it in to your portfolio. And what's great about Google Slides is that if you have like an optical mouse or a regular mouse with a right click, if you take a screenshot on your desktop, you can literally right click on your Google Slide image. So right click onto the image that I have there, and then you can scroll down to this listing, which says replace image. And if you hit replace image, upload from your computer, then you can replace the image with your screenshot. And the reason why you should care about that is because it basically will size it for you in that exact position, no matter how big or small you screenshot it. So that's amazing. That's really helpful. It saves you like a couple of minutes in formatting your portfolio. All you have to do is basically screenshot, right click, replace the image, and it instantly puts it in the exact place, in the exact size for you, as you saw with my cover here. So that's really helpful. And that's a small tip that Google Slides does, especially when you have templates, which is really, really, really helpful. Okay. We'll use 2 slides. We won't worry about the 3-slide version of principles of design. Sometimes I add a 3-slide in case students want to add more. I've removed that, so you don't have to worry about that slide. The second thing you're going to include after principles of design is that you want to include your Photoshop tools exercise. So if you remember, you did a exercise that labeled all the names of the tools. You want to make sure that you include that in your final portfolio. So this is basically proof that you did the exercise, that you know the names of the tools or have been exposed to those names of those tools, and you understand what they are. One of the things that you also have to include, and I forgot to mention this, is that to the left of each page is a purpose statement, which basically talks about like the purpose of this exercise, okay? And really, this is the objective. So for example, if you're doing Photoshop tools, and let's say we go to your canvas, and you're like, what was the purpose of that exercise? You can literally go back to your canvas shell, and then go down to the exercise. So I believe that was day 6, if I'm not mistaken, or yeah. And if you go to day 6, activity Photoshop tools exercise, then it says right here that the objective of this exercise is to learn the names of the tools often used in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so that's your objective. You can copy and paste that, plug it into your template over here, or you can give a written description of what this exercise is in your own words. But every activity has its own objective or description. That's basically where you're going to put your purpose of this exercise was to text. So that's basically what the purpose is, so that you know exactly where that text is. Okay. So it's given to you, it's there, it's on every activity. You want to make sure that you refer to them on the different days and then plug them in so that you're ready to move forward. Okay. And all the projects and all the slides have this information. Okay. Now, next exercise we did was pixel art. So we did a little fun exercise, which is on pixel art. And you can basically take your screenshot or that little drawing that you created of your pixel art, include that into the image. I believe we did one or two. If it's the one, then you can definitely just delete one image and then put in the new image in replacement of that. If you misplaced it, then you could totally recreate that image if you wish, or you can refer back to the activity post and it'll take you to the link to create that. But we did create some pixel art, if you recall. And so we want to make sure that we have that available, and you can right click and plug that in to kind of get you going. And we won't need this extra page as well because we can set you up there. Okay. Photoshop tools, Photoshop selection tools and techniques. We did that exercise. You can basically take screenshots of the completed work. And if you recall, we screenshot like the eyes and the face for masking the show. We screenshot the image in the background. This is literally what it should look like. So if you have those images, you can go ahead and just screenshot those. Right click the selection on your mouse, and you can go to replace image, or you can go to insert image, upload from computer, and then it can upload from your computer there too. So there's a couple of ways, or you can even hold the click, drag and drop it right into the Google Slides browser, and it'll instantly add it on for you there. But I obviously like the right click screenshot because it's going to make it easier to place it in less than like 2 seconds, literally. So it's going to be really helpful for you though as you get that ready. Okay. Okay. Photoshop collage. That was the career collage, if you recall. So let's call it, let me type that in. So the career collage, or career photo montage, as we like to call it. So we're going to include that as well. That could be a simple screenshot. So everything is screenshotables, which is great. So if you screenshot that and replace it into your image, purpose of the exercise, ready to move forward there. We did that. We also did a genetic mutation. So again, you're going to right click your image there, add it onto the template, purpose of the exercise. So genetic mutation we did. Okay, we also did grid variation, so all the effects, image adjustments in Photoshop as an experiment. And for your magazine cover, you can take 2 slides. Okay, you can take 2 of your favorite slides from your favorite decade, if it's the 50s or the 60s or the 2000s or 2010s, whatever you feel comfortable with. But let's take about at least 2 slides from your favorite era, favorite decade, and include that into the presentation, just as a quick display of the analysis of the work. So that way you have that. We'll delete this extra slide since it won't be necessary. We did a user persona, so that user persona is going to be included as well. So we'll take a screenshot of your user persona template that talks about your magazine cover design. Place that in there for me. Magazine conventions, that was the names of the different parts of the magazines. When you can basically take your slide, again, screenshot the slide from that exercise, place that in there. Again, purpose of the exercise is found in the objective of the activity on Canvas, so that you can copy and paste it in. The magazine cover, we're almost done with that cover. But for this one, I'm actually going to, the description, we could include a description on the assignment of the work, but let's take a look. Cover and written synopsis. Yeah, I'm actually going to remove that because we may not necessarily have much time for that. So we'll remove the synopsis and only include the design itself. And we're going to try to get that cover design as large as we possibly can so that we can get that in there and get a visual for the design. And I want to make sure that I'm tiling it properly so that it's centered. And we can kind of see it properly in comparison to the other designs there. Okay. And so magazine cover design, we won't have to worry about a written synopsis here. Just the cover design and we'll be set. Okay, and then we won't need that extra slide here, okay? Career highlights is kind of is any type of work experience that you may have. Think of that as sort of like, you know, a small snippet into the work that you've done. For some of you, you have, you know, little to no experience, which is fine. You could say that you are a designer at your high school. So for those of us that are in high school right now, you could totally include the name of your school, the district, city, and basically the dates that you took this class, right? So you can basically include that to the present and say that you're a designer and you were designing for your school district, right? Or you were part of the design program for your school district as a career highlight. You could even include Rio Hondo College as a designer for Rio Hondo College because you were part of the program and you're putting it towards experience towards your work. If you have some design experience at a studio, then you can include the name of the studio and the years that you kind of interned there. But essentially, most of us are going to be falling under like designer, college, or school district. This is kind of like an indication of like your work experience and just giving a viewer, a potential employer, a client, just a quick overview of the work that you've done and where you've been, right? So if you've done work at one place, like a college or like a high school or school district, include it, right? Something is better than nothing because technically you have been designing projects for the college and basically worked with us to kind of make those designs. So put that in there, include that, and that'll be really helpful in the work that we do, okay? Contact information is basically what we use in portfolios. Yes, when you're sharing your file, your contact is kind of linked up via your email, but sometimes some places or companies or studios may print out your work and basically showcase it or show it to anyone for whatever reason. If that's the case, we want to be prepared for all possibilities online or even printouts. So I always like to include a little contact page. And for this one, you can include your Rio Hondo email. If you're going to really have your own studio, you can include your personal email if you wish. But if you're in high school or joining us from a high school program, include your high school email. That's totally fine. Or your Rio Hondo College email. These would be places that someone would contact you directly. And of course, personal email would be you're a very serious client and you can trust this person. But you can include any type of email, but Rio Hondo email would be fine or high school email would be okay. And if you have a website that exists, include your website. That would be helpful. Or you can even include like the for your Instagram page so you can share design work. Some people like to put Instagram.com/ their link to their photos. And then that could be a way that you could showcase your designs, right? Not personal life, but graphic designs specifically, okay? So this is gonna be a breakdown of the portfolio. It's basically everything we've done, right? So you got an opportunity to catch up and get double points for these late assignments because it's included inside your portfolio, okay? And so that's helpful. So this gives you more than enough time to set it up, get it ready, and output it for Thursday, okay? So that's going to be our breakdown in terms of like all the assignments that we're doing here, okay? Let me give you some further instructions, and then we'll do our one-on-ones. Right as soon as we're done with collecting those assignments for your portfolio, you want to save your portfolio as a PDF file and then basically upload it. The reason for that is that we do take all the student work every semester and we save it into our archive. So the college has like an archive of student work. We do that as evidence to show our program directors the success of the program progress, how students are progressing in the program. And here's evidence to show that work. So here's a collection of all their designs. Here's explorations of the work that they've done. And here's some projects that they've created in the course. Right? So those are like really, really helpful. But we definitely want to make sure that when you're saving it, that you're downloading it as a PDF file, not as a link. So then that way I can download that file and upload it and put it into our archive, okay? It ensures progress, okay? And then of course, we're turning in the PDF file, not the link. And that's helpful because then you can save your file. Of course, you can even save your link for your Google Drive and share it to your personal email. And you can share that with employees, but just for the college, we would love to get a PDF download of your work, okay? Alignment is key, and we kind of talked a little bit about that in our portfolios, but when something lines up with something else, that always looks a little bit better visually. And we kind of see that happening in our portfolios. When two images are lined up to each, whether to the left flush or to the center or right flush, when something lines up with something else, it just has a better presentation overall. And so we create those alignments for you, and then it's really, really helpful, okay? When everything is said and done, check your spelling and writing. Obviously, we have a cover page there, so you can change the theme if you wish of your design. For some of you that are had my class before, you also have a graphic illustration portfolio. You could technically add it to your graphic illustration portfolio and have one massive portfolio. But definitely, we'll talk today a little bit about that, because when you're taking illustration, my graphic illustration and graphic design class, there are certain projects I recommend that you put in there as a way to showcase. So, because the way I like to operate my classes is that after they turn in the portfolio for the class, students want to start getting work or submitting their portfolios for internships. And then I say, oh, before you do, delete these assignments, which are college focused, and then leave these other assignments for the internship, if that makes sense. So there are some projects that I highly recommend that you delete after you're done with the class, and then certain ones that I would keep and send it to the internship, the studio, the company that you're interested in working for, and then they'll look at that and say, oh, okay, we have some really good work here. So one version of the portfolio is for the college, for portfolio and program reviews on our side. But for you guys, I want you guys to get jobs and internships or paid internships. And so the way you can do that, or get some studio work or freelance work at home, then I have recommendations on projects that you should take out and certain ones that you should keep in, so that you can get a greater chance of getting hired, getting some work and freelance work from people. Does that make sense? If it does, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji. So there's specific ones there. So if that's you, if you're interested in doing that, definitely mention that today in our meeting, and then I'll let you know specifically which ones you want to take out. Okay, and then that way you're all set. So then we're going to save it as PDF file, USB drives. I do have the last two bullet points here. I say email yourself or clean up your folders. That's really for if you're on campus, but you technically do want to just reorganize files on your Google Cloud at some point, but we've been doing a really good job keeping them organized. I would just say if there's anything on your desktop that needs organization, I would just put it into one folder, and if anything that you want to delete. And I would recommend anything you've done in the class, keep it so that you can always come back to it in any advanced graphic design or Photoshop classes in the college or elsewhere. I also include some free and paid design programs. So for example, there's so many different ways, that you can have files available to you. So I do share some of those free resources. Free options like Pixlr, Pixlr editor, is like a free version of Photoshop that uses an internet connection. It has the same power as Photoshop, but it's sort of a free version of that, right? So that's helpful. Illustrator is the illustration or drawing version. That is basically for those students that are familiar with Illustrator, have taken my class before. I've mentioned that. Really, Photoshop Pixlr is a good option. And there's even other similar versions of it. But I would just say, consider the student version of these programs. Illustrator all the Creative Cloud applications under the student discount is like $19 a month, which is insane, because you get 20 plus different programs, over 20 different programs. So that's like a program for under $1 a month. And then you get storage, you get cloud storage on top of that, fonts, everything's built into it. So even though we have free accounts on your cloud for some, and others that are possibly paying for it, if you are, then you should be paying the student discount. And you want to make sure that you have your personal email linked to that at some point, proving that you're a student. Okay, so if you have an ID and Adobe Illustrator or Adobe asks for proof that you're a student from your personal email, then take a picture on your phone of your student ID or transcript email and show it to them as evidence and say, hey, I'm a student, here's my ID. And they'll give you the student discount automatically ready to go. And you can pay per month, or you can pay for the entire year for like $18 or $17 times 12 months. And they'll give you a nice discount there. So a couple things to take into consideration after the class. There's even a photograph version of this class, of the plan, which is $10 a month. And you only get 2 programs. You get Lightroom and Photoshop only, but for $10 more, you get all the other programs like Adobe Illustrator, web-related programs, XD, all these video editing programs on top of that. You get all these great programs that you can explore. So I would say possibly consider the $20 version if you're serious about pursuing this as a career. And the student discount is the greatest discount out of all of them. So, and then also I include my personal email at the very end. So I always tell my students, basically, like at any point, anytime you need to reach me outside the class, you never know. I may work for the college for a time, I may not. You just never know these days, especially with COVID. But one thing for sure is that my personal email has never changed. So if there's anything that you guys need, letters of recommendation, advice, or just a quick say hi and say hello every now and again, feel free. You're more than welcome to. But I'm super thankful for everyone that's been taking this class. And even though I know we're 4 days away from finishing, let me just kind of start off and just say that you guys did an amazing job. You worked really hard, and we're not done yet, right? You still have time to catch up and put your best foot forward and finish strong. So if you've been working very hard every day, good for you. It won't be as challenging to finish. And for those of you that are catching up, you still got time to put in a good amount of time to finish strong in the class and still get away with an A. So we want to make sure that we get you to that level. Okay. So that's the breakdown. I think as COVID opens up, I will possibly do, I don't know, I've been thinking about it. Maybe I'll do, some type of like Sunday hangout. Like we're on Sunday mornings. I had a professor that used to do this. He basically every Sunday he would say, I'm over here at like the Earth Cafe in Pasadena, because one of my professors was from Pasadena. And he's like, every Sunday I'm at the Earth Cafe. If you ever need me, come on by the Earth Cafe. Here's my email. Come by on Sunday, say hello. I'll buy you a coffee and tell me about your projects and we'll talk. It's like, oh, cool. I may be thinking about implementing that. I don't know yet. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But it's, in where Rio Hondo College is near a restaurant. I live near Uptown Whittier, and Uptown Whittier is near Rio Hondo College. And there's like a few restaurants down there in Uptown Whittier, like Auntie's Bakery, which is reopening, I heard, or just about to reopen. I'm thinking about just doing maybe like a Sunday morning drop coffee. And if you guys are interested, you're more than welcome at any point to drop by and visit. But I think I'm going to start promoting that maybe, next semester. And I'm giving you guys a little bit of a sneak preview there. So if you think that's something you might like, hey, he's always here on Sundays. If I ever need a graphic design question, I could just show up out of the blue, bring my computer, and then just get some input or feedback, or just say hi. You never know, you can do that. I don't know if that's something you guys might be interested in, where it's like, oh, this teacher's here on Sundays, I could just go over there, whatever, and just get like some feedback. You don't even have to be part of the class. It's almost kind of like a free access to your professor for questions, issues, concerns, anything of that sort, advice, business advice, whatever that case may be. But if that sounds interesting, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji like, oh, I think I might stop by once in my life or something like that, or take a look at some work. Cool. All right. That sounds good. So that's my thought. I'm thinking about doing that. And, I like that. It helped out a lot. And I think I did that once with my old professor, and it was like an emergency. But thank God he was able to be there and be available for me, which is great. So I'll have more information, but I'll probably be starting doing that next semester for all the students. Okay. All right. So that's going to be available. You can screenshot this or put that in your contacts. I'm here for you guys at any point in any step of your career, in the beginning, middle, or end of your academic career in college. Okay. So we have that all available for you. All right, guys. Any questions about anything we talked about? I know I hit you with a lot, but the portfolio is basically a collection of all the work these last 20 days of instruction. And it's going to be all packaged into one nice file, ready to go, ready to share, and ready to make some money for those of you guys that are going to start sharing these files for internships for studios, because I think it's going to be good enough to get your foot in the door if you want to start working, freelancing, or even getting paid for some of the design work that you're doing. Okay. Okay. Any questions about anything we've discussed? Go ahead and type it in the chat, and you can even save it for our meeting. But that's going to be our format there. Okay. All right. If that works, a little thumbs up emoji. Okay. 10:07. Let's do this. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, and then we will start with our one-on-one sessions. So I'll go down the list and so that we can get a few folks in there. So why don't we do, let's see here. I'm going to go backwards on my list here. So Talia, when we get back, I'm going to start with you. So if you can give me a thumbs up that you hear me, Talia, give me a thumbs up or type in the chat that you're available. And I'm going to start with you. And just to make sure that you are available there. So Talia, or to Talia, make sure that you type back in the chat that you're available or get to a place where you are available. We'll start off with you. If we don't hear from you, we're going to move to Maria. Okay, so Maria, we're going to move over to you after that. So right after we get back from our meeting. And then from there, we'll basically go down the list with Francesca, Gio, Kalena, and then actually after Maria, Myra, we'll talk, okay? So after Maria, then it's going to be Myra. So I'll put you third on the list there. And then we'll go down with Francesca, Gio, Kalena, and everyone there, okay? All right. All right, guys, let's take a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll do our one-on-one private sessions in our breakout rooms, okay? I'll see you guys in about 5.